What's up, guys? It's Jess and welcome back to my channel, A Card Day's Work. I hope you're excited to be here today as I'm excited to share two cards with you featuring Simon Hurley's stamp set called Supermom. Now this one got a lot of love and attention around Mother's Day, but I wanted to show that it can definitely still be used throughout the year. It's not limited to only Mother's Day cards. So I'm going to show you two different, mostly clean and simple cards that you can make really quickly and easily using this just one stamp set. So I started off by doing a little bit of ink blending here. I'm using Simon's dye inks. The color that I use here is called Slippery When Wet. It's a nice bright yellow color and I really like that. I blended in just a circular pattern or motion here to get sort of like a moon or I don't know, light-shaped circle action going on. And then I'm stamping this cityscape or tall buildings scene directly over top of that ink blending. Now I did stamp this a few times just to make sure that my ink was nice and dark black. And then once it dries, it looks really nice there as well. I went ahead and left the rest of the card nice and plain. And I stamped the "You Got This" sentiment down at the bottom. Again, sorry about the focusing. I promise it's going to stop soon. All right, so then I decided I wanted to add a little bit something extra to the card because I wanted to keep it simple, but I wanted to give it just a little something else. So I stamped out this wow sort of comic book feeling sentiment here, which is really, really handy for doing a nice sentiment and giving it a little bit of oomph and pizzazz without having to do a lot of extra work. Simon's already done that for you as he created this stamp. And then I'm just fussy cutting this with a sharp pair of scissors. Once this is all cut out, I did go ahead and color it in. I just used some comic book or like, I guess, generic comic book colors. I don't know. I feel like the primary colors are very popular in comic books. So I used red for the outer area and then blue for the wow, like the actual wording. And I'm just using an alcohol-based marker here. This is a Spectrum Noir Classique marker. Like I said, it's alcohol-based and it colors really nicely, similar to a Copic, only this one has a bullet tip and a chisel tip. It does not have a brush tip, but I find that actually really nice for a lot of the coloring that I do. And then now here I'm using a blue, like I said, some nice primary colors. And then around the outside, I actually used a yellow marker and used the similar dotting pattern as to what was already there. And I felt like that gave me a nice look and coordinated with the background a little bit without it being too overwhelming or, you know, like being solidly colored. I just felt like it was a nice little coordinating piece, but not too overwhelming. I did go ahead and pop that up on some foam tape so that it would pop off the background a little bit, give us a little bit of dimension. And then I trimmed my card panel down to 4 by 5 1/4. That way I could mount the card panel onto a white card base that was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, like a standard A2 size card. Went ahead and adhered that little sentiment to the card front, and then, like I mentioned, attached that to a card base. The paper or cardstock that I'm using here is Simon Hurley's Stark White cardstock, and it's really nice and sturdy, works really well for card bases and building up your layers without sacrificing any of that sturdiness to your cards. All right, so I almost had a disaster on my hands here as I wasn't able to stamp that clearly the first time, but a miracle happened and I actually stamped right over top without smudging or duplicating or giving like that ghosted look. I'm impressed. That doesn't happen for me very often. I was fully prepared to start over, but hooray! So we're starting on the next card here already. As you can see, I'm doing a rainbow pattern here. I'm using all the different Simon Hurley dye inks here, picking and choosing some colors that I thought would be really cute for this little arrangement. All I'm doing is stamping Supermom over and over again in different colors. So I started off with Rosy Cheeks and then moved into Bee Sting, Traffic Cone, Slippery When Wet, and then Overzealous as well. I really love all of the different colors here, and as Simon has been expanding his line, the color additions have been such nice matches for the ones that are already there. They blend really well together, and as you can see here, they look beautiful on paper just stamped out as well. So that was Tropical Tango and then Clear Skies as well. And then I did use both of the purples that we have, Crown Me think that's what it's called. Yep, Crown Me. I had to double check. And then the triple berry color as well. So then I decided to go ahead and put the pink down at the bottom again. So again, this is Rosy Cheeks, just to kind of finish out the pattern. And then I added another little bit of the purple up at the top, so triple berry up there, just so that it was a nice continuous pattern. So it looks like that starts over again. I decided that I wanted to use the Supermom, since I was stamping out so many Supermom sentiments. So I stamped out 2, that way I have another one to use later on. But for this one, I stamped it out and I went ahead and cut it out with a pair of very sharp scissors. I do a lot of fussy cutting, but if you don't like to do that, that's okay. You don't have to. You can always do 1-layer cards and do masking, or you could do, like if you have a scan and cut, there's that option as well. But I don't mind if I'm just cutting out one image. It's okay for me to go ahead and cut them out. So I used to really avoid fussy cutting, but now I don't really shy away from it quite so much. I've been doing it quite a bit more frequently. Once I went ahead and got that all cut out and ready to go, I did color it off camera. I did really basic coloring, just picked a few colors. I wanted to keep her very simple, but still coordinating with the background. And then I went ahead and colored in the wow sentiment the same way as I did the last time. So I used just different colors, but I colored it the same way. And the colors that I chose are purple, and then I also used pink. And then for the background, or where the dotted area is, I used the light gray that I used in her like a superhero suit, and just did that same dotting pattern that I had before. So once my coloring was done, I was able to go ahead and trim down the card panel here. I trimmed it down again to 4 by 5 1/4, again, so that that can be put onto a white A2 size card base. That's kind of my go-to here, though this time I did use a top folding card rather than a side folding card. Then I went ahead and used that same foam tape to just pop up my little Supermom there. I wanted her to kind of be across the sentiments and the white area, but I wanted to make sure that there was still some white area showing here, so I definitely put her at an angle, and then you can still tell what the sentiments say, just because it is that repetitive or repeating pattern there. And then I've got her little speech bubble that says wow. Went ahead and attached that to my card base just like before, and that finished off the cards, you guys. I didn't add any extra embellishments or anything, but there are 2 ideas for cards that you can use for all year round with just using this one stamp set from Simon Hurley. I hope you guys were inspired to create something. If you were, be sure to tag me on social media at A Card Day's Work. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in another one really soon.